Salt Lake City overdue for major quake. A 3.1 struck today, reported felt by over 500 in the Salt Lake City area yet again, where we still have the quake swarm ongoing. This is not the area, this is what we talked about before. This is Salt Lake City. Around here we could see the magma intrusions and the fact that this lake, the Salt Lake City, is basically a filled-in lake. And we're going to take a look at the quakes. You can see for yourselves, because the fact is that it's overdue, according to what Chris Duras, geologist at Utah Geological Survey, warned us about. And let's keep our eyes on this. This is the mantle plume coming from Baja. As we know, it feeds the west coast, but it also goes into the area feeding towards the Yellowstone supervolcano. And it goes right through Utah. So let's keep that in mind. This is yet a better image of it. You can see the magma plume right underneath, heading towards Yellowstone, and the cross section is of that, showing the mantle plume going from Baja right through Utah and into Yellowstone. So let's keep this in mind when we talk about what we see on the map. And this is today's quake, 3.1. Felt by, let's refresh it, 503, 530 now. Okay, they're reporting more and more. So this is the shake map. We have a little bit of a shake map. I don't know if they're going to have the liquefaction. No, we'll get the big one for the liquefaction. As we saw before, we had 5.7 that started all this out of nowhere. And that's Salt Lake City right there. It's right over Salt Lake City. Let's take out the shake map. Oh, well, put them on. Okay, there we go. 3.1 reportedly felt by 500 some odd. They're still coming in, and it's right over faults as well. And we'll see the area of the shake map. This is an area of a lake fill. It stretches basically up to there. It's like a valley flanking the mountains. Now, this is they've expected a long quake. This is one of the if you see the video before this one, this is one of the 5 major earthquake time bombs devastating the United States from what they warned us about. And this has to do with the warning for Salt Lake. 200-mile long fault running directly beneath 1.6 million people who live in Salt Lake City and the Utah urban corridor. Geologists found evidence that the fault is generated several magnitude 7.5 earthquakes in the past. Okay, the fault has been ominously silent since 1847, they said. That's a better picture. And if you want to see keep in mind what we saw before on the map, the fact that the mantle plume, the magma comes from here and feeds the west coast, and also going into Yellowstone right there. Okay, Yellowstone, and there's Yellowstone right there. And that's Yellowstone Lake right there, as you can see. That's Yellowstone Lake. And there's Hebgen Lake. And there's Salt Lake City. And let's pull out again so we can have a better view of this. And that's the path of the mantle plume right here. It goes this way, as we saw before on the map. So they have had several 7.5. And the fault has been silent since 1847. Surveys have shown dramatic buildups of stresses that could lead to a quake. Historically, geologists know that each section of the fault goes off around every 350 years or so, and the section of the fault near Salt Lake City last ruptured 1,300 years ago, and the last big quake near the rest of the urban corridor center was roughly 2,100 years ago. So we can see that it's really overdue from what the geologists are warning. Chris DeRoss, geologist at Utah Geological Survey, said we're basically due for another earthquake. And this he said back in 2008. So look, all right, so that was decades ago. Now he said we're really getting right into that zone where we'd expect to see one. Salt Lake City especially vulnerable to a quake because it sits on top of an ancient lake bed made of soft sediments which would amplify the seismic waves. That's it, that whole area. Additionally, the region is not well prepared for an earthquake due to their relative rarity in the region. And I'll leave links below, that's a part of the Bended Reality. Okay, let's go to our map. There we go. The Google Earth. Okay. And that's it right here. Utah. So, that's like half of Utah. I'm exaggerating, but we're talking about the fact that it's the urban center. Okay, 7.5. But now I want to go to the past earthquake. We'll take the little ones off so we can get to the big ones so that you can see the, okay. The blues are, okay, that's the one that we were talking about before. That's the one we examined. And let's go back to the one having to do with the 5.7. We have to find it. Here it is. Because that will give us the, okay, 35, but almost 36,000 people reported it. So you can imagine hundreds of thousands must have felt it. And this is the shaking of it. Let's go to more. Okay, the shaking. And let's pull out a little bit. As you can see, they stop the block. They just don't continue it. And we'll go to the aerial. And this is Yellowstone Lake right there. That's Yellowstone Lake. If you were to extend these shake lines, which are quite intense, I'm sure that they would go, because this is still, this is still west of the mountains, which that lake there, this may be soft, but this is Idaho, and you see that's a lava flow there. That's the Snake River Plain, that's a lava flow. And this is the path that Yellowstone took to go up there, right here like this. And I would imagine that shaking did shake Yellowstone. Okay, if you extrapolate those lines, very, very possible. And here's that beautiful lava flow. You see that right there? Isn't that something? It's like it was done yesterday almost. And okay, and we have more lakes over here as well. Okay, so that's. There we go. Okay, and you have more lakes on this side as well, as you could see. Lake here, lake here, lake here. That's Salt Lake City. Okay, and I want us to see the liquefaction estimate. Take off the shaking. Okay. And go to that's Salt Lake City right there. Well, let's go in a little bit more. Right there. Okay. And that's the liquefaction that you have. Because of the fact that it's a filled up lake. All of this, it was at one time, all this was one lake. That's why it's so soft there. And they did have damage to the Latter-day Saints temple, the Mormon temple, to the spire and the statue, and some bricks falling off buildings and sides of buildings crumbling because of that earthquake, because it's soft there. So this is what the geologist Chris DeRoss warned of, that they are overdue for a big quake of magnitude 7.5 or so, because that fault has been ominously silent since 1847, and stresses are building up there, which could lead to a strong quake. And as we said before, this 5.7 came out of nowhere. Okay, so, and it's still going on, as you can see, the little ones. Let's go to the little ones. Okay, there you go. That's the past day. And we even had a few straggling down here. Okay, that's a Utah Lake. That's a Great Salt Lake, Utah Lake in Provo. And these ones here as well. Okay, that's Utah. And all of you there, please be very careful. God bless you. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.